Hello Year 7 and welcome to your lesson on the Tempest. Today we're going to be looking at magic in the Tempest and how important is magic in the play. So if you can go and get your exercise book and whatever it is that you're writing on and write today's date, Friday the 26th of June 2020, the title Magic in the Tempest, how important is magic in the play, and the keywords supernatural, which means magic and magical creatures. You do not need to send today's work to your teacher, but do keep it safe. So pause the video here and I'll see you on the next slide. So we're going to think about this question. Did Shakespeare believe in magic? Well, certainly people at the time believed in magic, and supernatural power appears in many of Shakespeare's plays, not just The Tempest. And most people at the time that Shakespeare was writing would have believed in the danger of the supernatural. Shakespeare used ghosts, witches, fairies, prophecies or predictions about the future to terrify and to entertain his audiences. You can find out more about the supernatural in Shakespeare's plays at the website, the link is on this slide. If you're watching this as a video, then you'll find the link on Show My Homework. It's quite a short video, but it's very interesting about the way that Shakespeare used supernatural across his plays. King James, that we've already heard a little bit about, who was the first person to see this play performed in 1611, absolutely believed in the supernatural. He believed that witches used evil powers to torment their victims. In 1597, he even published a book that he'd written on the subject of witchcraft, his Daemonology, it was called. King James even took part in the trial of witches. So go to your exercise book or wherever it is that you're writing your work and see if you can write down all the examples that you can think of magic or the supernatural that occur in the Tempest. So pause the video now so you can write some down and then I'll see you on the next slide. Here are some examples of magic in the Tempest that I thought of. Perhaps you can think of more. Well, Prospero, he has magical power from his study of these ancient books. He used his power to free Ariel and to create the storm, and also to control events and people on the island. Caliban's mother was a witch called Sycorax who imprisoned Ariel in the tree, so that's another example of some supernatural power. Ariel, of course, is a sprite and has great magical power. He is able to place the shipwrecked people on separate places on the island, keeping them and their ship safe. And Ariel is able to transform into a terrifying harpy, tormenting Prospero's enemies. The island itself is haunted with strange noises and music, suggesting that perhaps the island itself is magical. Now, Ariel has great magical power. So in the scene where Ariel terrifies Prospero's enemies, he tempts them first of all with a banquet. Then he makes the banquet disappear and then he transforms himself into a harpy to tell them he knows all about their crimes. A harpy is a terrifying creature from Greek mythology. It's half human, half bird, and has the job of carrying wrongdoers to their judgment. So you can see why it is that Ariel transformed into that particular creature. Now, there is a link here, which if you're watching this as a slide, you can click on. If you're watching this as a video, you'll find the link on Show My Homework. This is a scene from a film version of The Tempest. Now, it is quite frightening, so I'm giving you a warning here. If you don't like things that are a little bit scary, then don't watch this. So it's where Ariel transforms into this terrifying creature in order to show Prospero's enemies that he knows what they have done. This is the last job that Ariel performs for Prospero before he is granted his freedom. This is the scene. So I'm just going to read this to you, what Ariel says. And remember, he's in this terrifying form when he says this. He's really passing judgment on Prospero's enemies. So he says, "You are 3 men of sin, whom destiny that hath to instrument this lower world and what is in it, the never surfeited sea hath caused to belch up you, and on this island where man doth not inhabit, you mongst men being most unfit to live. I have made you mad, and even with such like valour men hang and drown their proper selves. You fools! I and my fellows are ministers of fate, the elements of whom your swords are tempered may as well wound the loud winds, or with bemocked at stabs kill the still closing waters, as diminish one dowel that's in my plume. My fellow ministers are like invulnerable. If you could hurt, your swords are now too massy for your strength, and will not be uplifted. But remember, that's my business to you. And you 3 from Milan did supplant good Prospero, exposed unto the sea, which hath requited him and his innocent child, for which foul deeds the powers, delaying not forgetting, have incensed the seas and shores, yea, all the creatures, against your peace. Thee, of thy son, Alonso, they have bereft, and do pronounce by me lingering perdition worse than any death can be at once, shall step by step attend you and your ways, whose wrath to guard you from, which here in this most desolate isle else falls upon your heads, is nothing but heart sorrow and a clear life ensuing." So in that particular scene, we see how Prospero sends Ariel to torment his victims and to show them the great power that is on that island, greater than their own power. But at the end of the story, Prospero promises to give up magic. He says he will break his magical staff and throw his magic book into the sea. He recognises that his obsession with magic was partly to blame for him losing his title Duke of Milan. He will do better in the future. And he says, "I'll break my staff, bury it certain fathoms in the earth, and deeper than did ever plummet sound, I'll drown my book." So this is your task for today. You only need to do one of these tasks, but you can do more if you have time and you'd like to. So the first one is to design a costume for Ariel, either in his usual form or as the harpy. And I'd like you to label your design to show how it reflects his magical power. Ariel is seen in lots of different forms, but Ariel is not only a kind of innocent sprite. Ariel has enormous power and can be terrifying. So label your drawing to show Ariel's power. Or you could write a short story about Ariel's adventures after he is free. Where does Ariel go? What does Ariel do with his power? And the challenging task for today is this. Is magic a force for good or evil in the Tempest? Write 2 to 3 paragraphs giving full reasons for your answer. So we've already heard about how magic is disruptive, but is the magic creating in something evil, or is it in fact restoring order in this story? So that's a challenging task for you to think about. That's the end of our lesson today. Remember to keep all of your work safe, and we will see you next week. Bye bye for now.